Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Sri Lanka Natural History Society lecture for October. The title of the lecture is Nelu Diversity and Mass Flowering in Sri Lanka. And the speaker is Dr. Nilanthi Rajapakshe, who is a plant taxonomist, ecologist, and conservationist attached to the Department of Wildlife Conservation. I'm afraid Dr. Nilanthi just called me and she's getting a little late. So till she arrives, we hope to show a video of her walking through Horton Plains and describing the Nelu. So we'll start with that.
Okay, sorry for the late. First, I will give a brief introduction about Horton Plains National Park. Then I will explain what are Strobilanthes is and how we can identify Strobilanthes. Then I would like to explain this distribution and diversity of Strobilanthes and following that master flowering. Finally, I would like to talk about threats and conservation about Nelu. Horton Plains National Park is distributed in two districts, Nuwara and Badulla, in both central and Uva province of Sri Lanka, and accessible by road and train. When we consider Horton Plains, area is about 32 square kilometers. It is a national park as well as UNESCO World Heritage Site. Altitude between 2,100 meters to 2,300 meters. Rainfall about 2,000 millimeter and annual rain, annual temperature 15 degrees centigrade. When we consider Horton Plains National Park, which is established under Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance in 1988 and managed by the Department of Wildlife Conservation. Sorry for trouble. I will explain this slide. Yes, Horton Plains is a national park as well as World Heritage Site. Historically, this area is known as Mahaeliya after Sir Robert Horton. This is famous for Horton Plains National Park. Unlike most of national park in Sri Lanka, Horton Plains National Parks are allowed to visitors to work inside the park. It is most important as catchment area in Sri Lanka. It is rich biodiversity and home to many rare and endemic plants and animals. There are two entrances to the park. The main entrance can be reached by Pattipola. There is another entrance from Ohia, from the south of the park. There are many attractions to the visitors. Most of the visitors arrive at Horton Plains to see the renowned World End and Baker's Fall and climb to Kirigalpotta and Thottupalakanda, second highest mountain in Sri Lanka and third highest mountain in Sri Lanka. It is natural laboratory to study the plants and animals which live in montane forest. There are three nature trails. One is World's and Baker's Fall Round Trail, about 8 kilometer length. It takes 4 to 6 hours to work. And then Kirigalpotta Nature Trail, 14 kilometer long trail. It takes 6 to 8 to reach. And then Thottupalakanda Nature Trail, 4 kilometer length. Total working time is 2 hours. When we consider biodiversity in Horton Plains National Park, it has rich biodiversity and home to many rare and endemic plants and animals. When we consider vegetation, the vegetation is patchwork, upper montane forest, cloud forest, and montane grasslands. There are two vegetations, forest and grasslands. Forest called upper montane forest or cloud forest. Grasslands are montane grasslands. We called wet patana. And between them narrow ecotone with shrubs and herbs between forest and grasslands. Cloud forests or upper montane rainforest are restricted to hilltops and upper slopes, and grasslands are distributed on the lower slopes in the valleys. These montane grasslands or wet patana grasslands can be mainly divided into 3 categories. They are dwarf bamboo, Puruna densifolia, tassel grass, and carpet grass. This upper montane rainforest, due to increased elevation and wind conditions, the canopy species become quite stark, giving way to pygmy forest. That's why we called it pygmy forest. There are many adaptations of upper montane forest. Plants are arranged in 2 layers, canopy and understory. The canopy layer grows up to 15 to 20 meter high, consists primarily of Calophyllum species and Syzygium species. Understory, which grows up to about 4 meter high and dominated by Strobilanthes species. And garland twisted branches as a result of strong winds blowing over them, and broad and short crowns of the canopy. Mosaic trunks, black, gray, like white, and colorful young foliage. Damba, Keena, Kurundu. Young foliages are very colorful, relatively small, thick, leathery leaves, and absence of drip tips are distinguishing features of its vegetation. At the same time, these leaves are held on the twigs. They can photosynthetic efficiency during mist and clouds. The trees are evergreen throughout the year, unlike dry zone. And epiphytes are dominated by mosses, leafy leaves, ferns, and orchids. And many bryophytes can be seen in the montane forest ecosystems. When we consider flora, there are 430 vascular plant species have been recorded from the Horton Plains National Park recently. And 126 species are endemic to Sri Lanka. Following are main dominant species: Calophyllum, Syzygium, Simpleclos, Actinodaphne are noteworthy tree species in Horton Plains. These are the canopy in Horton Plains. This cloud forest are 2 layers, canopy layers and shrub layers. Canopy layers are these are the common plants of canopy layers: Calophyllum walkeri, Neolithia fusica, Syzygium rotundifolium, Heliocarpus grandulifer, Syzygium revolutum, and Vanasapo. These plants are common in canopy layers. And middle layer, these plants are common: Symplochus bracteolus, Actinodaphne species, Berberis species, especially Berberis salonica, Psychotria salonica, and Sita pera. Like that, middle layer trees consist of these plants. And when we consider Strobilanthes, Strobilanthes is in understory of montane forest and Horton Plains National Park. Understory is dominated by Strobilanthes species. In Horton Plains National Park, there are 80 to 12 species are recorded, but these days we can see 5 or 4 species blooming, like that: Strobilanthes hookeri, Strobilanthes pulcherrima, Strobilanthes calycina, Strobilanthes viscosa, Strobilanthes anceps, and sexinis. Not only Strobilanthes, there are many plants in understory as a shrub. In Partians, there are 4 or 6 species of Impartians species in distributes in shrub layer of Horton Plains National Park. These are the Impartians species: Impartians acaulis, Impartians leptopoda, Impartians appendiculata, Impartians macrophylla, Impartians cusipata, Impartians truncata. Like that, these species are in shrub layer. And when we consider Osbeckia species, there are 4 Osbeckia species can be seen in Horton Plains National Park: Osbeckia lanata, Osbeckia walkeri, Osbeckia rubicunda, Osbeckia parvifolia can be seen in Horton Plains National Park in shrub layer, but Osbeckia parvifolia is a creeper. When we consider Excacum species, there are 2 Excacum species in Horton Plains National Park can be seen, especially Excacum macranthum. Gentian bud flowers can be seen as a herb, and Excacum walkeri can be seen. When we consider orchids, there are many orchids in montane forest, like that: Pinalia bicolor, Obeketia brevifolia, Bulbophyllum Oberonia whitiana, Contridium bractiana. Like that, many orchid species can be seen in montane forest. And when we consider Drosera species, there are 2 Drosera species can be seen: Drosera bergmani and Drosera peltata or Drosera lunata. In wet pathana grasslands of Horton Plains National Park, Rhododendron arboreum subspecies Zelenicum Maharatmal. It appears to be fire resistant and scattered throughout the grasslands. There are many ferns, like that. These are the common ferns. And there are many mosses and lichens. When we consider Strobilanthes, Strobilanthes is a dominant species in understory layer in Horton Plains National Park. Strobilanthes is a genus, belongs to family Acanthaceae, first described by Bloom in 1826 from specimen collected from West Java. Many species, there are 440 species in the world, especially distributed in South and Southeast Asia. When we consider Sri Lanka, there are 36 species in Sri Lanka. A lot of species are endemic to Sri Lanka and a lot of species are protected by Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance. And this is one of the largest genera reported in Sri Lanka and most interesting its gregarious appearance, elegant flowering, and gregarious occurrence. These are the world distribution of Strobilanthes, South and Southeast Asia. About 450 species are recorded in the world. When we consider Sri Lankan distribution, most of species are distributed in montane forest and sub-montane forest and lowland rainforest. Few species are distributed in wet zone and intermediate zones. Actually, there are two species, Strobilanthes excerta and Strobilanthes cordifolia. This can be found in wet, dry zone and intermediate zone. Other all species, about 24 species, are distributed in wet zone, both montane, submontane, and lowland rainforests. When we consider basic identification features of Strobilanthes, it leaves arranged opposite decussate. And when we consider leaf characters, basic identification features of Strobilanthes, leaf characters are very important. There are two types of leaves, elliptic and lanceolate. Leaf margins are, there are a lot of leaf margin types. These are entire, cereulate, crenate, serrate, dentate, and lobed. There are many leaf margin types. And when we consider flowers, floral characteristics are most important characteristics for identification of Strobilanthes species. There are two types of flowers, tubular to funnel-shaped corolla, and other corolla type is gradually widened from the base. One type is gradually widened from the base. The other type is campanulate from narrow cylindrical corolla tube. These are two types of corolla, and there are many types of inflorescence, heads, spikes, panicles, like that. And they have a fruit, typically a 2 or 4-seeded capsule. It is a Acanthaceae. This Strobilanthes, genus Strobilanthes, belongs to family Acanthaceae. This capsule is a basic characteristic of Acanthaceae family. When we consider study of Strobilanthes in Sri Lanka, early collectors and workers, these are the responsible persons: Thwaites, Henry Tryman, Gardner, Cherry Wood, like that. When we consider mass flowering phenomenon in Sri Lanka or hill country or Horton Plains National Park, Some Strobilanthes species show mass flowering. Locally very visible in Horton Plains and other highlands. These cycles observed in 12-year cycle for some species in the region, although cycle can vary by species. In 2013, we have observed like that mass flowering of Nelu. After that, in 2018, we observed mass flowering of Nelu. And 2025, there are two cycles. They take long time to grow and then flower. There are two cycles in after 12 years. Ecologically consistent short-term usual forest display flowered by mass seeded set and store in regular spore population. In Hall, this picture is taken in Horton Plains National Park in 2013. When we consider in India, the Kurinchi bloom in the Shola grassland ecosystems in 2014, these pictures. Thomas Farr, an English planter who built Farr in Horton Plains National Park, was the first to observe that Nelu Strobilanthes plants flowered in 12-year cycle. He first recorded the flowering in 1881, followed by 1893 and 1905. And he forecast 12-year cycle mass flowering of Nelu Strobilanthes in Sri Lanka. When we consider Strobilanthes species in Sri Lanka, there are about 36 species in Sri Lanka. 6 species are least concerned, 8 species are vulnerable, 12 species are endangered, 11 species are critically endangered, 3 species are critically endangered and possibly extinct, and 1 species are extinct. We consider as extinct that Strobilanthes caudata. Strobilanthes hypericoid, Strobilanthes sexinus, variety caudata, Strobilanthes sexinus, variety oblongifolia are considered as critically endangered, possibly extinct. And many of species are protected under Flora and Fauna Protection Ordinance. When we consider recent research and studies, recently in 2000, Strobilanthes willisi from Retigala. It is a strict nature reserve. First specimen collected from Retigal, top of mountain Retigal strict nature reserve. And then recently we have described Strobilanthes medahinensis in 2021. First, we observed it without blooming in 2015. After 5 years, we have observed flowers, and we could describe Strobilanthes medahinensis in 2021. These photographs from Strobilanthes medahinensis, and then we have published in Phytotaxa. These are the scientific paper. And recently, in 2023, we could describe another species, Strobilanthes glandulata, first specimen collected from knuckles in Rambukkolua area. These are Strobilanthes glandulata. And another species, Strobilanthes sripadensis. We called it sripadensis first specimen collected from Sripada near Katukitula area. These are the Strobilanthes sripadensis recently described. These are two published scientific papers from Phytotaxa. And Department of Wildlife Conservation published two detailed guide from genus Strobilanthes in Sri Lanka and pocket guide about genus Strobilanthes in Sri Lanka and a poster. And when we consider pollen in scanning electron microscope analysis, they are very unique to the species. They have demonstrated pollen morphology characteristics have taxonomic significance and useful as additional data, especially in species identification and classification in genus Strobilanthes. Like that, there are many studies and researches are done in Sri Lanka. If you have any questions, please ask. We will continue this as a discussion.
What are the other countries that we have? Is there any other?
Yeah, there are many countries.
Zoom people won't hear the question, so repeat the question. See, that means you have to repeat the question
Yeah.
for the Zoom people to hear.
Yeah, question is, what are the other countries Nelu distributors, Strobilanthes distributors? There are many countries in South and South Asia, India, China, Malaysia, Burma, Indonesia, Australia, Korea, like that.
The season that is.
There are many cycles, 12-year cycles, 6-year cycles, like that.
In Carnegie also there are some flowers.
Yes. There are, in Sri Lanka, when we consider Sri Lanka distribution, most of Nelu species are distributed in wet zone, gregariously occurrence in montane and submontane, and lowland rainforest. Carnelia is lowland rainforest. There are two species, Strobilanthes lupulina. We can see mass flowering in lupulina in Carnelia. And not only Horton Plains, there are mass flowering occurs in many places in Sri Lanka. In lowland rainforest like Carnelia and Sinharaje, we can see mass flowering of Strobilanthes lupulina, and also Palabaddala and Eratna place, we can observe it. And Gongala, there's another species, Strobilanthes habracanthoides, mass flowering of Strobilanthes habracanthoides. It is most close species to Strobilanthes pulcherrima, most beautiful Strobilanthes species in Horton Plains National Park. it's similar species, Strobilanthes subacanthoids. Mass flowering can be seen in Gondola. And nowadays, there are many places in Kandy, Aladenia. It's another species, Strobilanthes walkeri. Mass flowering can be seen.
And all seeds. Actually,
Yeah.
species, species, the same. We have no species.
No,
Repeat
no.
the question. You have to repeat the question, otherwise.
Yeah, question is, 4 seeds are in every species? No, there are 2 or 4 species in Strobilanthes, genus Strobilanthes, but there are 8 species in other species belongs to family Acanthaceae. There are many genus in family Acanthaceae. The other species have more than 4 seeds. In Strobilanthes, there are 4 and 2 seeds, but in 2014, one of species, Strobilanthes, one of, I can't really remember name. So one of Strobilanthes species, they have more than seeds, above 4. There are 8 or many seeds. It's Strobilanthes called. 1 year or 2 year.
Could you please explain why there is this mass flowering? Repeat the question. Explain why
Yeah.
does the Strobilanthes have the mass flowering?
It's a natural phenomenon, mass flowering. Plants want more energy to mass flower. So they growth many years for vegetative growth. They take many years to grow. Then they bloom flowers. After many years, they bloom flowers. They are more important for mass flowering. They produce many seeds. That's a survival for them. It's a adaptations to the environment. That's why mass flowering occurred.
Thank you, Dr. Rajapakshe. My question is, what are the biggest pollinators of these flowers? Is it native bees or has anyone looked at them?
Yes, native bees, Mimasa, Bambara. Like there are many pollinators.
Adapted for the.
They yes, they adapted some in Strobilanthes. There are 2 types of stamens. One type are inserted and the other types are exerted. So pollinators are adapted to take pollens like that. When inserted, they adapted to insert, and when exerted stamens, they adapted like that. There are many pollinators.
After flowering, does the plant die down or does it keep getting larger and larger over the years?
Sorry, after flowering,
After
they,
flowering, does the plant die
yeah.
or does it keep growing bigger and bigger every year?
Repeat the question.
After master flowering, plants died. But all species are not occurred. Some species, as example, Strobilanthes calycina, not died after flowering. But many of the species in Sri Lanka, especially many of the species in Horton Plains, they give master flower and die. After that, they grow as seedlings. Yeah. Yes.
Species is critical.
Um, what is described as species in reticula, no? It is Strobilanthes vilisi. Most related, most similar species is Strobilanthes stenodon. It is stenodon is distributed in knuckles area. It is most related to stenodon. It is located top of the reticular strict nature reserve. Strobilanthes vilisi. No, it is more similar to stenodon. It is described by Carine in Kew Gardens. He mentioned there are in stenodon or Strobilanthes vilisi. There are no bracteoles in Strobilanthes vilisi and bracteoles present in Strobilanthes stenodon. And in flowers, there are hairs. In Strobilanthes vilisi, there are 2 rows of hairs, and the other one, there are no 2 rows of hairs. This is the character distinguished these 2 species.
Who discovered the plant in reticle?
Dr. Carol,
Sorry?
Dr. Carine from is from England.
Okay, but you can write things 12 years, what the flowers do. Is it a process that happens?
In Sri Lanka, there are many species. Some species take 12 years to flower, but some species bloom every year. Some species take 2 years to flower, some species 4 years, 6 years, 10, 12, like that. Some species take 16 years to flower. Strobilanthes anceps. This species takes 16 years to bloom.
Is there a reason why it takes so long?
It's a natural phenomena. They take many years to grow. They vegetative grow strong, and then after flowers, that's a adaptation to the environment. They when we occur mass flowering, they produce many seeds. This is an environmental adaptation, and they produce many seeds. That's the adaptation.
Is there any other plants other than Strobilanthes that show master?
Yes. There are many plants in like that. Strobilanthes in family Fabaceae, family Apocynaceae. They occurred mass flowering. In bamboo tree, walnut tree, they show mass flowering.
Bamboo tree?
Family Fabaceae and family Acanthaceae, mass flowering is occurred.
Can we wait to identify a plant as a dominant
Sorry?
word? Which is a plant, how can we say whether it's a Strobilanthes or not?
Basic. What are
Identification
the
of genus Strobilanthes. Repeat the question.
what are the That means what are the characters or basic features to identify plants in Strobilanthes. When we consider leaf arrangement, it's the opposite decussate leaf arrangement, and they have cone-shaped flowers. Strobilus mean cone, anthers mean flowers. Cone-shaped flowers, Strobilanthes. And swollen in ribs. There are transverse ribs in stems, swollen at node, like that. These are the characters, and many of our herbs, shrubs in Strobilanthes species. These are the basic characters to identify flower characters, floral characters, stem characters, and especially when we consider pollen through electron scan microscope, this is the most important character, pollen. But it is difficult. We have to prepare specimens for scanning electron microscope.
The image, the bottom left and the top left are two different.
Yes, these are different species. These from different species. There are two types, ellipses and round. There are different. We can differentiate species using pollen characters through scanning electron microscope.
The arrangement is simple opposite.
Yeah, simple leaves. They arrange opposite and decussate.
One more question, Dr. Rajapakshe. What are the most common insect predators of Strobilanthes? Are there any endemic caterpillars, for example, that feed only on Strobilanthes that you're aware of?
Predators of pollinator.
Predators,
The caterpillar.
like caterpillar predators or other insects. Maybe especially if there are endemic Strobilanthes, are there endemic insects that feed on them? Has that evolution, co-evolution happened?
For pollination.
දැන් ආවෙනික
Yeah.
වර්ග තියෙනවා නම් ඒ වගේම ආවෙනික දැලඹුව වර්ග නැත්නම් ඒ වගේ සත්තු.
Yeah. There are butterfly. Nelu is a host plant of in butterfly species. They eat young leaves. Caterpillar of that butterfly.
Have you named some butterfly?
Oak leaf. Strobilanthes is a host plant of oak leaf. There's a caterpillar of oak leaves. Eat young flowers.
What is climate change affect the cycles? Do they shorten it?
Yes, sometimes when climate change affect distribution of and Strobilanthes species. If climate change occurred, all Strobilanthes species are destructive. There are no evidence, actually no studies and research are done in Sri Lanka for climate change.
Yes, Prasad?
Yes. After we then come to introduction, especially
Yeah,
mammals and birds.
Repeat it.
questions is, are there plant animal interaction occurred?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark flowering.
Yeah, with with mast flowering, there are many plants animal interactions can be occurred. Seeds of Strobilanthes are delicious food for jungle fowl. When they eat a lot of seeds, they get unconscious. Yeah. This prey of black eagle like that, and tigers, leopards, civet cats, prey of like that. Animal plant interactions can be occurred, and pollinators. There are a lot of pollinators, so that's the plant animal interactions. Like that, there are many plant animal interactions can be occurred with mass flowering.
Yeah, I have a question for that, participation on variation. So there are single criteria to the mass covering, happen later or it happen prior to that variation?
Yes. What's the
If
question?
there's a long drought, whether the mass flowering is delayed.
Sometimes drought can be occurred after master flowering. Seeds will take sometimes seed will take many times to grow. So after master flowering, drought can be occurred. But in this period, other species, Coleus species, especially Coleus inflatus, like that species, are grow.
And will the flowers in March, how long does it happen? Like, for rainy season?
He wants to know how long the mass flowering lasts, how many months or.
To 3 or 4 month mass flowers last. Up to December, sometimes, I guess, in January, we can
That
see.
has something to do with the monsoon?
Sorry.
That it is related to the monsoons, yes, monsoon.
I can't guess. It's related to monsoon.
It's hot and dense, the monsoon is not.
It's more some mountain for us. But there are many mass flower occur in lowland rainforest, sub-mountain, mountain. So I can't guess.
Okay, then. So thank you, everyone, and thank you very much, Dr. Nilanthi, for this wonderful lecture. May I call upon our long-standing member, Sri Namendra, to give the vote of thanks. Could you?
Thank you very much. I think all those online, can you hear? It's okay. Can you all hear online? I think we have to take this opportunity because it's a wonderful lecture. And the passion that you have for this particular study is coming through, because you, from your young days, I think you've been very familiar with Strobilanthes species. And that kind of passion, I think, is very necessary for researchers and all those who study anything to do with natural history. And I must thank you so much for all the information and arduous work. I know it's easy to stand here and give a lecture, but the background work to bring us through all this and then share it with us would have been quite arduous. So I thank you very, very much on behalf of the Sri Lanka Natural History Society. And thank you.